Hey guys, how's it going? So in today's class we are going to learn how to draw a Kowhai flower with pen. So this is the drawing we're going to be doing a bit later in the class after I've taught you some skills. I went to the garden and actually got some beautiful Kowhai flowers. So this is going to be really cool to give us a bit of a reference in terms of, you know, the colours and how they're actually put together, which can be very helpful. So in terms of getting your materials ready, what you're going to need is some sketching paper. You're also going to need a pen. Now I'm going to be using 3 different pens in this class. So a classic Bic ballpoint pen, just a black one. I'm also going to be using a uni pin fine liner, and this is I've got a 0.6, but any size really, which is an ink pen, commonly used for illustration. And then I've got something that's in between that's called a U-Knock, and this is a rollable ink pen. So it's different to your Bic pen and different to your fine liner. So those are the 3 I'm going to be demonstrating with. And then we're going to have a chance to add a little bit of colour to the picture too. So the main drawing we're doing is with pen, but with the colour, I much prefer using colour pencils. So I've got a range of colour pencils, a couple of different yellows and a couple of browns as well, which are going to be helpful. I've also, just to show you a contrast, I've got some felt pens from my daughter's felt pen set. So these are literally just Crayola felt pens, nothing fancy at all. But if that's all you've got at home, then you can still do this class. So yeah, I'm going to be showing you the different techniques of how to do cross-hatching and scribbling and how to create tone with pen, with line, because it's not like a pencil where you've got a graphite pencil so you can do shading. It's a little bit different because you can see all the lines kind of as equal lines. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the class today. It's going to be a lot of fun, and the class is going to go up for free on my website, so you can watch that there, classes.joemcmenamin.com. Great, enjoy. Cool. So hey guys, welcome to this art class, this online art class. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to draw some Kowhai flowers today. And as I was saying to you before, I went out to my tree and I actually got some Kowhai flowers off the tree because I thought it'd be really cool to sort of be able to see them and be able to sort of look at them and, you know, figure them out. So if you want a bit of a challenge later on, you could try going and finding some Kowhai flowers and actually drawing them in real life. But for today, we're mostly going to be looking at the picture when we're doing the drawing. Okay, so I'll put those ones aside, and I'll put our picture aside as well. All right, so just a quick little check up on our gear. All right, so what I've got here, I've got 3 kinds of black pen. So my first one is called a Bic pen, and this is like a really standard, like basic black pen. And this is actually really good for sketching, okay? So that's going to be the main one we use. And then I've got this uni ball ink pen, and this is like an illustration pen, okay? So it's got like a little fine thing on it. It's good for like sharp black lines. And then I've got this in-between one, which is called a U-Knock. And this is like a rollable ink pen, okay? So it does quite fine lines. And it's quite good for like little fine illustrations. So I'm going to show you a few different techniques, but we're going to start off with our main pen, our Bic pen, because I reckon most people probably have one of these. All right. Now what we're going to do, guys, is the first thing we have to do is we have to learn how to do shading or tone with our pen. Okay. So, what if you don't have those pens? Doesn't matter if you don't have these pens. If you've got any black pen, you'll be fine. So what I want you to do first up is to draw 3 little boxes like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And just put the numbers 1, 2, 3 down beside them. And if you've been to any of my classes, you'll know this is how I like to do it. We'll have a bit of a practice and we'll learn some skills, and then we'll start on our nice drawing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to learn about something called cross-hatching. Now, cross-hatching is just drawing lines that go in opposite directions. Okay, so in the number 1 box, I want you to draw some lines like this that are going diagonal, and then draw some lines that are going the opposite way diagonal. You guys get what I'm saying? Starting off super easy. Okay, now this is our lightest tone, okay? So this is like a really spaced out, you know, there's only a few lines and they're quite spaced out. Number 2 box, what we're going to do is we're going to do the lines closer together, okay? Doesn't matter if you go outside the box, like this. Okay, but we're also going to add some more lines. We're going to add some up and down lines. So, up and down lines, and we'll do some sideways lines too. Okay, so fill that one in. Nice. All right, now you've probably predicted what's going to happen next. So this is our middle tone, number 2. Number 3 is going to be our dark tone. Any guesses what we're going to do in here? We're going to do heaps of lines. Okay, so start off with the lines really close together. Now, by the way, make sure you take your pen off each time you draw a line. So don't go like this, because that's a different thing, okay? You've got to draw each line separately. So I'm only drawing downwards, okay? So do the lines closer together, and then do the opposite way. Okay, it's already looking kind of darker, isn't it? And then I want you to do some more up and down lines. All right. And I want you to keep adding lines to this one until it's almost black. Okay? You can do them on like slightly different angles. Now don't be tempted to scribble in it, keep drawing the lines, but you hopefully should have something that looks like that. Cool, we're going to use that very soon to draw some shapes. Now I want you to do another 3 boxes here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to learn another technique that we have to use for this kind of pen drawing. Okay, this one is called scribbling. Now, you're probably all good at scribbling. You know, anyone can scribble. But the trick to scribbling is you just want to draw lines. It's a continuous line, but you've got to just have it random. Okay, so it's going to be like, sort of like this. Like circles and curves, but sort of random. Try not to do like lined up too much, just do random. So in number 1, you're going to do a really spaced out scribble. Try and keep it in the square if you can. Like that. And if you've got a ballpoint pen like mine, you can press lighter as well, and you can get like quite fine light lines. Now we're not using pencil for this whole project today, guys. If you haven't got a pen, you could do this with pencil, but the main thing is to learn about how to draw with a pen. Okay, so number 2, scribbling. Again, do the scribbles closer together this time, okay? And they're sort of overlapping a bit more, like that. Yeah, so some people might find this a little bit too fast, but oh, that's a train going past. But yeah, so I'm going to have to keep it moving, otherwise other people might find it a bit boring if it's too slow. So if you find this too fast, you can go back and watch it later on the website, and you can catch up. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, same deal, scribbles, but this time overlap heaps and heaps of scribbles. Okay, so you got, and I'm also pressing harder, so I'm getting a darker sort of scribble. It's almost going to be black in there, but it's not quite black. Okay, so like that. Okay, so we're going to jump into our first shape now, guys. Now, our first shape that we're going to do is a cylinder. Okay, so how do you draw a cylinder? You basically draw an oval like this. Okay, 2 sides, and then a curve on the bottom. So everyone try drawing a cylinder like that. Now, if you've done my tone class, you'll already know this, but cylinders get like darker around the edges when you're adding tone to them. So it's lighter in the middle and darker on both sides. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to add some cross hatching to create that tone. So have a look how I'm going to do this, okay? First thing is, I'm going to say the tone is going to come out to about that far. Like that. Okay? Then I'm going to do some extra tone, some extra lines going the opposite way. Like that. Okay? You guys do that and catch up. Cool. Okay, now what I want to do now is I want to make it darker near this edge. Okay, so I'm going to add some more lines into this edge here. So, but I'm not going to go all the way. So I'm going to do it like this. Okay, I'm going to add some lines that go straight out. But see how they're not going all the way to the edge of my first cross hatching? And then I'm going to add some other lines going down the side like that. So I've sort of now got 2 layers. I've almost got a 1 over here and then a 2 over here. Does that make sense? Cool. Then I'm going to add a little bit of scribbling into this left hand side. So watch how I do this. It's just going to be like some scribbles, not too hard. Just like that. Cool. And I'm going to repeat the process on the other side. Okay, so then starting off with your cross hatching. You can do the lines quite fast. You can see how I do them pretty fast. But make sure you do separate lines. So that's the first stage. Then the next stage you just do some lines from another direction. And then some scribbles right on the edge. So you want the edge to be quite dark. Okay. What do you reckon? Does that sort of look 3D, guys? Yeah? Okay. Now what we're going to do, we're going to add something to this. So we're going to make this into this cylinder. We're going to make it kind of hollow. Okay, so actually before we do that, we're going to do something coming out of it. So watch this. We're going to have another cylinder coming out of this, and we're going to draw a little thing like that. Okay? So it's just like a smaller cylinder is inside this cylinder here. And we'll actually have it coming out the bottom as well. Okay, like a piece of, like the cylinder's hollow and there's a piece of, another piece of wood or a piece of, another cylinder through the middle. Cool. No one's telling me to slow down, so hopefully I'm going at a good pace for you guys. Okay, so now what we're going to do is this little cylinder here is still going to have the tone. Okay, so you do your little cross hatching on each side. Just like that. Same at the bottom. Cool. Good. Little scribble on each side to make it a bit darker. Cool, that's looking fine. Now, when things go behind other things, they have a shadow. Okay, and this is the reason I'm telling you this is because when we get to do this lovely Kowhai flower, can you see how inside here there's like shadows? How it's darker inside there and down here? So we're going to be using this technique when we draw the real thing. Okay, when it comes into shadow, you just add some more cross hatching here. So see how it's like going behind that bit? Cross-hatching like that. Try and add a shadow to that. And there's definitely going to be a shadow underneath as well. Yeah, it totally looks like a toilet roll. That's a good call. Okay, so here we go. That's the paper coming off. We now drew a toilet roll holder. Now, there's one more bit we need to do to make this look more realistic, and that's, see these bits here that are going inside the toilet roll? We need to make them really, really dark, okay? So we need to make them almost black. So what you do is we're going to use the scribble method for this one, but keep your scribbles inside the shape of it. Just like that. And can you guys see how now that looks... Oh, sorry, motorbike driving past. Can you see how that looks even more 3D now? Because it's like dark inside and it's like going through the middle of it. That looks pretty cool, eh? So now I'm actually going to change my pen. Now this next one I'm going to do with this uni pen, okay? It's a little bit different because with a Bic pen, with a ballpoint pen, you can actually get like a really faint, really soft line. But with a uni pen, you can't. You can only really get solid black lines, okay? So, and what we're going to do now is we're just going to do a rounded shape. So I'm going to do like an oval type shape. Like an egg, basically. Okay? And we're going to say the light is coming from this way. So that means that area is going to be light and the area opposite is going to be darker. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. Just watch how I do it. Basically, I'm going to do some cross-hatching lines. Some single lines to sort of map out where the light spot is. See that? And then I'm going to start doing lines at opposite directions around the darker areas. Like that. And I'm going to build up more of the dark. So start off with that, guys. Draw the egg shape and then start doing some lines like that. Cool. It doesn't matter, if you don't have this pen, it doesn't matter, you can do it with your whatever pen you're using. Okay, so now remember, more lines at different angles. So I'm actually building up the darker tones by just adding more lines in. Once you've done quite a bit of cross-hatching like that, then you can start in on the scribble, okay? So the scribble happens around the real dark spots. See how I'm doing that, eh? And as I go out towards the light bits out here, I'm doing the scribble really faded. But as I come down to the dark bits, it's going to be more close together, more like a 2 or a 3. Probably more like a 2. And then the really dark bits down here, they get a 3. Now, if you're doing it right, you should be able to squint your eyes and it looks a bit 3D. Is it starting to look 3D, guys? Nice. Maybe? Okay. Okay. Now, the final touch is there's one more technique that you can do, and that is called dotting. Well, dots and dashes, okay? So do you see how there's this big white space? It's a bit too big. So what we have to do is we want to make some little wee dashes. So basically just put some little dashes like this around. And you can also use dots even past that. Do you see how that looks? Just little tiny lines that are getting lighter. Keep that really light spot white, but then just add in some more dots around the edge. You can do lots of dots if you want to. Yeah, nice. So I'm pretty happy. See how those little dots just added like quite a nice little tone in that white area? All right, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to have a little practice of sketching, okay? Now, I'm going to have this picture here. All right, now we're going to be drawing with pen we're going to do our good copy thing soon, but we're just going to start off doing a bit of practice sketching. Now, normally when you do sketching with pencil, you do like the basic shapes, and then you kind of harden it, you make the lines a bit darker, and then you can rub out the basic shapes. So you can't really do that with pen because the pen doesn't rub out, okay? So we have to sort of skip that step. And what we need to do is start with the sketching, okay? So let's start with just this middle guy here. What we're going to do, we're going to look at each piece in turn, okay? And you're going to try and do it really lightly. So this is the top of it. See how it's like curved like an egg? Then it comes down, and then it sort of fades like that, and like that. So I want you to try sketching that with me, guys. I'm doing it really lightly, and I can fix it up later if I want to, but you can't really rub out the pen, so that's the issue that we're going to have. Okay, so that's how you do the sketching. Now, what I'm doing when I'm doing it, I'm looking at each thing really closely, and I'm trying to copy it over to my picture. So I can see, oh yep, there's that big leaf there that's got that shape. This one comes underneath it, and then what are those bits there sticking out? I don't know what they're called, the stamen? I don't know, the flowery bits. You can kind of just lightly sketch those things in. We can tidy them up a bit later, but that's the sort of rough idea to start off. All right. Now, if we look at this area here, do you see how that's kind of like an egg shape? So sort of like our practice one, where it was lighter at the top, darker at the bottom, but it does have this little, almost like a bit where it sucks in. So it's kind of darker like that, and then it sort of gets lighter on this area. So we're going to have to do that. When we do the toning, we're going to actually do that. And I guess the thing that's probably useful in terms of like the real life kowhai is just to notice how each one has like this kind of top bit, almost like a hat. And then it has these these little bits kind of poking out the bottom, and the petals are like overlapping each other, okay? So we can see that in our real picture as well, or not our real, in our printed out picture. We've got that one in the front, and then this one's like behind it. Cool. Okay, so we're just going to start off with the sketching. So we've got three main things, okay? So let's start in the middle here with our top one. We've already practiced this one. Okay, so just adding a little oval. And then this one here on the side is a little bit below that one. Like that. Cool. And then this one's about the same, isn't it? So pretty similar, but it's quite close. It's like kind of like hugging up to this one. It's having a cuddle. So that's how we sort of start those three shapes like that. Then we're going to come, actually we'll just do the connection points where they connect. So we've got a stem there, and we can't really see this one, but it sort of goes up, down, and then there's like a branch here that it connects to. There's another little one behind it, but we're not going to draw that. We'll just leave that one out. Okay. Now, let's come back to the middle one. So we've got our oval, but it actually comes down a bit like this. And then we have this yellow, beautiful yellow petal coming down like that. Don't go too far down with that one, because remember, these other ones are lower. So they're going to come down even more, okay? So up like this. They've sort of got like a little hood thing, there, like a little angle. And then this guy comes down here. Cool. So we're trying to draw those three sort of main shapes. I'll stop in a minute. Once I've drawn this one, I'll have a pause and let people catch up. Now this one here is a bit different. It comes down, but then it has like a long bit that connects it up like that. Probably needs to come a little bit lower. Yeah. There's actually another one hiding in here, which we will draw that one. Okay. So try and catch up to where I'm up to now, guys. Oh, yep, good work, good work. And just make sure that you're trying to draw exactly what you can see. Like, don't try and oversimplify it too much. Because you want to try and make it as realistic as possible, okay? Okay, so we're just going to carry on here. Keep drawing. We'll go back to this middle one. See how it's got another petal coming down like that out of here? And then there's another one, another biggish one coming down like that. That's going to be really cool to draw because we've got all those layers of stamens coming out. But we won't draw them yet. We'll just stick to these. Oh, this one's got a little sharp point on it. That's cool. Look at that. And then that sort of curves down like that. I didn't really leave much room on my page. That was a bit silly. I should have drawn it probably a bit smaller to start off. But that's alright. Okay. So those are our three musketeers. No. Those are our three main Kowhai that we're drawing. But we've got this other one that's poking out here. So we still need to draw that. So curve that one around like that. And like that. Okay, so try and catch up to where I'm up to there. Cool. And remember that, yeah, this is going to be video, like filmed, recorded, and put up on the website. So if you find yourself like getting too far behind or whatever, you can come back later on and try drawing it later on. Okay. Okay. Let's roughly draw in these stamen bits as well. So we'll just lightly have a few little bits sticking out. They sort of have a little rounded bit on the end of them, eh? That's probably where the pollen is. Cool. Oh, wow, that's got some really big rounded bits on it. Nice. Okay, and I don't think we'll worry about all this bit down here. It's too dark to see really, but we'll just do a few coming out of here. Cool. Yeah, I reckon that's a good composition. It's a good starting. All right, nice. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to start on the tone. Yeah, I know. Sorry if I'm going too fast. I'm just going to have to keep up. So we're going to start on the tone now. Now, let's have a wee look at our picture. So where's it really, really dark? It's really dark in here. Okay, where that bit's in shadow, and in here, and then inside the petal bit here. So those are quite dark. And then it's really light on these front yellow pieces here. Okay, there's a bit of shadow under here, which is nice. We'll be able to draw that, and under here as well. And that'll help to make those top bits look 3D. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with our cross hatching. Let's start off on this one here, eh? So now we're going to sort of firm up our drawing. So try and sharpen up your lines if they're not quite right. See how that sort of curves a bit like there? Cool. And what we're going to do is, you notice how just around this side here, there's a bit of a dark patch going around like that. So that's what we're going to do first, guys. So grab your pen, and we're just going to add our cross hatching into that area. Just like we did with our practice egg shape. Cross hatching. And now it's going to be super dark in here, so we'll add lots of dark in there in a minute. But for now, just add in that tone. That's pretty good. I'm going to do a little bit of scribbling through the middle, but that's actually pretty good for what it is now. Okay. Now come on down the side here. A little bit of scribbles, but not too much. Then we get into a little bit of a shadow here. Okay, so here's where we starting to make it darker in here. So it's going to be cross hatching from different directions and some scribbling. I did leave this one a little bit too far away, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. So when you know where it's really dark, that's when you have to go really dark and build it up like really, really dark like that, okay? And what that does is it creates something called contrast. So when you have a really dark bit, really dark beside a really light bit, it makes a really beautiful contrast, and that makes it look really nice. Oh yeah, okay, good work team. Thanks for showing me. Okay, now do you see how this yellow piece here, it's got a shadow just down the side? So you know how we're going to do that, don't you? Cross hatching. Start off with your lines nice and spaced out like this, just like the cylinder we practiced. Funny that, eh? Just like that. Then a little bit of scribbling on the side, not too much. And then you'll notice there's quite a dark line down between them, so you can actually draw that in. Don't be afraid of doing a dark line. And then this bit that's behind here, this is quite dark as well, so we can add that in with our cross hatching a little bit closer together. Now don't worry about the colour just yet, because we are going to add some colour, but we'll just go with the pen first. We'll focus on the pen. Alright, I'm going to leave the kind of stameny bit till last, I think. Alright, so that's looking really good. Hopefully yours is looking good. Can you guys see there's a few lines coming down from here? So I'm just going to draw those like little flicks. Oh, and there's a little bit of shadow there too, so I'm going to make some cross hatching in there for that shadow. There we go, that looks a bit better, eh? Yeah. So that one's darker than the other ones. And the background kind of behind it is really dark as well, so we can just add in some good scribbles through there. Just fade them out to sort of nothing back there. Yeah, cool. And do you see what's happened now? Because we've got dark on both sides, that's making that front, that little yellow petal there just pop out. It's making it look really, really good. So that's awesome. Okay, bit of shadow under here, eh? Oh yeah, that whole side is pretty dark as well, so. We'll just have a nice sharp line down here. Okay, cool. Awesome, guys. Hey, we've been going for 3/4 of an hour, so you might need a bit of a stretch. Stretch your hand a little bit, get those fingers all stretched out. Yep, good work, team. Get loosened up. Woo! Can be a little bit tiring doing drawing for a long time, eh? Okay, cool. So that's enough of a break. Get back to work. All right. So what we're going to do now is we still need to do the shadows and stuff under here, okay? But I want to really bring in the color because it's already 4:15, so we've only really got a bit longer. So what we're going to do with the color is I might just bring back my example, my practice, and we'll color in this toilet paper. So I've got a couple of color pencils here that I want to use. Okay, one of them is like this really nice kind of warm yellow. One is quite a light, like a really bright yellow, which would be perfect for that front one. And then I've also got a bit of a brown here, which would be good for the top bits. Now, I have done another drawing how to use color pencil. I'm going to actually do some more for the website, but basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding the lighter colors into the lighter areas. So I'll do it on here so you can see. Okay, so yellow. Now when you use color pencil, don't press too hard too soon, okay? Start off nice and lightly, and then you build up layers of colored pencil. Okay, so don't press fully hard. So see how I've done the yellow on the lightest bit? Then my next color is that kind of more browny yellow. And then on the really dark shadows, I'm going to put in the brown. Do you see how what that does? See how it just reinforces the cross-hatching, the tone, with the colors underneath? Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing with our picture, okay? We're just going to be adding some color just to enhance it, not to like take it over, but just to make it look better. So if we come back to our picture here, what we want to do is we want to start off with the darker color. So I'm using burnt ochre for this one. And just starting off nice and lightly, I'm going to work through the shadow area here. So I'm pressing pretty lightly on my drawing. Now, if you've got felt pens, you can totally use that instead. You just have to be careful because the felt pens can make the pen run sometimes. So just be careful not to go too much over it. But I prefer using coloured pencils. Okay, so see how I've just gone over the shadowy areas like that? And now I'm going to do another layer in the shadow, in the darkest bits. So I'm going to press a bit harder with my pencil. See, can you tell what's happening? See how it's just built up a little bit more shadow in there, but a bit darker? And then I'm going to get my middle brown, or your middle yellow, and just do that lightly through the highlighted areas. I still haven't pressed too hard, guys, because I don't want to make it really solid. Do you reckon that's too light? Or is it looking okay? Might be a bit too light. I might have to add a little bit more brown up into the yellow. Now, the better quality your pencils, the better you can like blend them and mix them together. So if you've got, if you're struggling to layer the pencils, it might be because of what color pencils you're using. Okay, now we know that this part of the yellow is really, the petal is really bright yellow. Okay, so we can come in here with our bright yellow, and we can just fill that in. Still probably don't press fully, but just make it nice and light. Back to here. And then I've got my other yellow, which is a slightly browner yellow, and I'm just going to go back over the dark areas with that one. Probably going too fast. Anyone complaining? How long do we have to go? My little brother punches me. Okay, thanks guys, really pertinent. I don't have brown. That's okay. If you don't have brown, you can just do it with yellow. It's all good. Okay. Cool. Do you guys see, the pen drawing actually looks pretty cool by itself, so you could just do a pen drawing on its own. But adding in the color really kind of brings it to life, makes it look really nice. All right? Yeah, cool, nice. So let's just keep going. We'll go back to up here. So I've got my lighter part of my top. And then I've got my brown for the dark areas. I think probably we're not going to end up finishing the whole picture together, so this might be your homework, guys. You might have to actually just finish this off yourself. Yeah, that's looking cool. Just you want to sort of have a difference in color or tone from the top part to the bottom part. See how the bottom part of the flower is really yellow, and this has got a browny sort of look. Okay, again through here, and this one has sort of a more browny yellow down the bottom and on the side. And then my nice bright yellow here.